Barbara, her mother, her husband, have come all the way from Dublin to be with us. We have brethren who have come all the way from Antrim, I believe from Fermanagh also, and we welcome each and every one of you. This is a low-key event this year, but next year we will be back in force because we intend to see to it that we honour our own, and we will do so on an annual basis from here on in. Brother Edward Walsh, as I said, was a member of the Hibernian Rifles. The Hibernian Rifles were a group who played an extraordinarily important role in the 1916 rebellion. They have almost been written out of history, and it is vital that we bring them back to history again. Now, as we all know, in the past few days, we in the Tyrone Hibernians have managed to raise the profile of the Hibernian Rifles, and we will continue to do so on a county basis and on a regional basis, and hopefully a national and indeed international basis. Brother Walsh joined the Hibernian Rifles when they were formed in the early part of the last century. He and his companions rallied to the cause when the proclamation was read out on Easter Monday of 1916. He and his men made their way shortly thereafter to the GPO. He and his eldest son Christopher, who is Barbara's grandfather, and a number of other members of the Ancient Order of Hibernians were sent to an outpost in Parliament Hotel, which is on the south side of the Liffey. And there they held this outpost against an overwhelming force of British military. Not only did they hold it, they succeeded in repelling an advance by this overwhelming force of British military who were approaching the GPO and other rebel outposts in central Dublin. In the course of the fighting, Brother Walsh was wounded. He died a short time later. His son Christopher, Barbara's grandfather, was given permission by the commanding officer to return home to the family if he so wished. Bear in mind also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Brother Walsh's wife was expecting another child at that particular. She was pregnant while this was all happening. She gave birth later on in 1916 to another son. Is that correct? Yeah. However, Christopher refused, and with the rest of the A.O.H. members and the Hibernian Rifles, they fell back to the GPO and stayed there until the evacuation on the final day of the fighting. Their courage and sacrifice is something that needs to go down in the annals of our history, something that we are now recording and paying homage towards. So without further ado, I would ask that Sister Catherine bring forward the wreath that we are now laying in honour of our fellow Hibernian, Brother Edward Walsh of the Hibernian Rifles. And I would ask that Barbara, if you wish, you may join in laying this wreath on this occasion.
Yeah.
I'll now ask Una to come forward and read the proclamation.
The proclamation of Poblack na Hurn, the provisional government of the Irish Republic to the people of Ireland. Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland through us summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organised and trained her manhood through her secret revolutionary organisation, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and through her open military organisations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, having patiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal itself, she now seizes that moment, and supported by her exiled children in America and by gallant allies in Europe, but relying on the first of her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland, and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies, to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished the right, nor can it ever be extinguished except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the Irish people have asserted their right to national freedom and arms and sovereignty. 6 times during the past 300 years, they have asserted it in arms. Standing on that fundamental right and again asserting it in the arms and face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republican as a sovereign, independent state, and we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to, and hereby claims allegiance of every Irish man and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation, and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious of the differences carefully fostered by an alien government, which have divided a minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have brought the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people of Ireland, and elected by the suffrages of her men and women, the provisional government hereby constituted will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic in trust for the people. We place the cause of the Irish Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke upon our arms, and we pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonour it by cowardice, inhumanity, or rapine. In the supreme hour, the Irish nation must, by its valour and discipline, and by the readiness of its children to sacrifice themselves for the common good, prove itself worthy of the august destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas J. Clark, Sean McDermott, Thomas McDonagh, Patrick Pearce, Eamon Cant, James Connolly and Joseph Plunkett.
What we are doing here today is we are reclaiming our history. The ancient order of Hibernians have allowed ourselves to be written out of the great role that we have played throughout Irish history for centuries. It's worth noting there that Sean McDermott, who was actually the chief plotter, if you like, behind, along with Thomas Clark, who was from Tyrone here, behind the actual rebellion itself, was a member of the ancient order of Hibernians. And it is said by members of the IRB that the fact that he was able to pull off a rising was testament to the experience that he had gained as a member of the A.O.H. because of all the internecine politics that goes on within us. Only somebody out of the A.O.H. could have kept the secrets that he was able to keep. So I think that's a compliment to us, although it probably wasn't meant as such at the beginning. Nevertheless, we are reclaiming our history. We are standing here stating quite clearly that we are on the rise again. The Tyrone Ancient Order of Hibernians has grown in strength in the last number of months. We will continue to grow in strength. And when we come back here next Easter Tuesday, we will be led by a new division. That division will be the re-established Carrickmore division. That is something for us to look forward to. We are not going to let go of it again. We are going to be central to all that is taking place from here on in. The days of us being silent, days of us not recognising our heroes and reclaiming the great sacrifice and courage that an example that they gave us, those days are over. We're coming back, and we're coming back in strength. So now I would ask that you join me. It's worth noting that in the proclamation itself, God is invoked right at the beginning and right throughout. Those men back in 1916 and women were quite conscious of the Christian heritage that the Irish nation stands for. Now there are those who are trying to write our Catholicism and our Christianity out of the Irish society and Irish nation. That won't be allowed to happen, because that is part and parcel of us. That is what we are all about. So we are quite proud to say that in 1916 they invoked God to begin with, and we invoke God's blessings here this evening. And we also keep in mind the great sacrifice made by our brother Edward Walsh, and we will always honour and pay homage to him and others like him. So if you join me please for a dag of the Rosary as Gaeilge. And then you may not have a big just put it near Amen. of our ceremony here today. Again, I thank Barbara, her mother Margaret, her husband Vinny for travelling all the way up from Dublin to be with us. It's a great honour for us to have you here. It's a great honour for us to pay tribute to one of our own, a true hero of the Irish nation, and a member of the ancient order of Hibernians, and a great warrior with the Hibernian Rifles. So I welcome, as I say, everyone here, and I look forward to seeing us all back again next Easter Tuesday in enormous numbers. This is a low-key event today. Next Easter Tuesday, they will know that we have arrived.